What's going on, folks? And we're back for another segment of Seeing Live here at SHOT Show 2017. And what you're looking at right now is some footage of the SHOT Show floor. And just a couple of facts here for you guys. SHOT Show is actually the largest show at the Sands Hall, as well as it has 88 million impact on Vegas alone. So it's a lot of money. I don't see SHOT Show going anywhere else anytime soon, if you ask me. Well, if they're smart about what they're doing here at Sands. But joining me is, I'm not really worried about you guys because I'm more worried about the guns that are on the table right now. Right? But no, early when I opened up the show yesterday, I kind of ranted and raved a little bit about the Maxim 9 because I got the chance to shoot it at Industry Day. And so sitting on the table right now is the Maxim 9.
Correct.
So let's just jump right into it and tell me everything I need to know about this particular gun because I'm still kind of salivating over my initial experience.
All right, absolutely. So the Maxim 9, this is actually the, it comes in two. Actually, this is our longer configuration here. It's
Okay.
10.75 inches from tip to tip here. Comes out of the box in the 10.75. This is
Okay.
the first integrally suppressed pistol.
Okay.
9mm. Out of the box, comes in its longer configuration. And the user actually has the ability to remove some guide rails from the front right here. And
Okay.
they can take out two of the baffles right there, two of the baffle stacks, and then put it back into its smaller configuration right here. Now, the longer configuration is actually hearing safe on all 9mm ammunition.
Okay.
Shorter version is hearing safe with subsonic ammunition. Everything about this particular gun, Silencer Co. has created and manufactures. A couple key components. There's an option for a rail, an aftermarket rail sight right here, a red dot rail sight. And also there is the ability to attach, there's a key mod system on the bottom that you can attach a light if you would like.
And so basically you would attach a panel and then run the light.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Exactly, and it's holsterable as well, which you can see right here.
Oh, wow.
So you got to shoot it. Do you want to hold it?
Yeah, of course I want to hold it.
What kind of question is that, right?
Right. So talk to me. What made you guys want to design this gun?
Well, Silencer Co. has always been about innovation.
Mm-hmm.
From about 9 years ago when we entered the industry, we wanted to do things differently because we could. We knew that we could. And so ever since our first beginnings, we have been out to innovate, to shake things up, to give people, I don't know, a different option, a way to think differently.
I mean, I'm kind of suffering. When I first came across the Maxim, I was more or less suffering from what I like to call the elusive obvious. It's like, yeah, of course you do an integrally pressed 9mm handgun, right? But, I mean, can you name another one that exists right now? Right?
There is none.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that when you see it, it's like, what? Well, yeah, it just makes common sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, from that standpoint, it's not your traditional style firearm in the sense of, you're dealing with, of course, the integrally suppressed component of the gun. Who's the buyer?
We actually designed this around the everyday buyer. It retails. It's actually in production right now.
Okay.
And it'll be on the shelves this coming April, and it retails for $14.99.
Okay.
And so that is really geared towards a high-end pistol, a high-end suppressor. It actually comes under that price point. So anybody who likes to shoot, they can get it. We wanted to give people an option between the loud gun or the quiet
gun. Okay. Now, with that being said, which kind of brings Knox in terms of the laws regarding someone owning a gun like this. So is this going to be a 2-form, 1-form? What is this?
So when you purchase this gun, it's just like you go through the same steps when you purchase a suppressor.
Okay.
Whereas you go and you fill out your forms, you have to pay the $200 tax stamp, and then you have to wait a long time.
Now we have to wait.
Currently, yeah. 6 to 9 months. And I think that's not fair. I don't think that's fair for anybody in the gun industry who wants to buy a suppressor or wants to buy the Maxim 9.
Oh, I think it's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah. when you look at it, it really is.
Yeah. Actually, I just released a video today about suppressors, and we use a lot of Silencer Co. And in the video, I espoused the notion of why am I being forced to have to deal with what are we talking now? What 6 to 9 months wait time for a suppressor? And they're not cheap. It's not something like I'm not spending maybe $100 or $200 on. That's just the tax stamp alone.
That's just the tax stamp.
And then I don't get to actually take it home with me.
Yeah.
And then, what about individuals who don't necessarily have the funds to not only pay for a gun and then have to sit back and wait for it and then pay arbitrary tax? So that's always been an issue for me. I'm pretty sure it's been an issue for not only you and everybody else here. So now we're in a position where we can go more on the offense with respect to the laws on suppressors, and we have the Hearing Protection Act.
Yep.
And so, Max, I kind of want you to talk about that a little bit, about Coach Max.
No worries, man.
I want you to talk a little bit about the Hearing Protection Act for people out there who don't quite fully understand what it's all about.
Sure. So the Hearing Protection Act is a piece of legislation that we have helped work on for the past 2 years.
Now, when you say we, meaning
The American Suppressor Association,
Gotcha.
National Rifle Association, Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation, and SSF. It's been a big team effort.
Gotcha.
Where we're trying to remove suppressors from the purview of the National Firearms Act. Right now you have to submit paperwork. ATF is saying it's going to take 8 months if you submit paperwork. Personally, I think that if you submit paperwork today, you might get it in 2017. You might not, which is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, suppressors are just hearing protection. They're the only technology out there that can actually reduce the noise of a gunshot at its source.
Now, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Now, from that perspective, I think a lot of the reason why we're even in the place we are right now with respect to suppressors and how difficult they are to get, I think is largely cultural. Especially Hollywood being the biggest culprit in many ways, I think. Kind of creating this illusion of this nefariousness that's involved with suppressors and owning suppressors. I know when I'm at home and I think about how my home defense setup is squared away, I think about, okay, there is that very real thought process of I may have to deal with some hearing issues depending on what type of situation I end up dealing with in my home. As somebody who's living in a home as a law-abiding citizen, I don't think I should have to be concerned with something like that, especially when the thing preventing me from owning the thing that could prevent that is arbitrary. Yeah. It's just an arbitrary tax and an arbitrary waiting period that in many ways is kind of prohibitive for a lot of people.
Right.
And so where do you see the industry going from a suppressor standpoint? And this question goes to both of you all. If we were to get the Hearing Protection Act passed?
I would see the industry leaning a lot more towards the suppressor.
Yeah.
Like I said before, we think people should have the option to have the gun loud or quiet. I mean, there's nothing worse than having a gunshot go off and then your ears ring for a week or it's just not fun.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, I have tinnitus, and it's not fun.
No,
it's not fun. I definitely don't want it to get worse either.
And it's unfair for this generation of shooters to impose that on the next generation, right? It's something that we all grew up shooting. Most of us have some form of noise-induced hearing loss or tinnitus.
Yeah.
But the next generation doesn't have to have that, and we have a very real opportunity to make it a much safer experience to introduce new shooters into the game, and get folks who just want to protect themselves at their home, hunters who want to go out in the field. Almost none of whom wear hearing protection because they want to hear their surroundings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny how a lot of people on the other side of this argument almost mock the idea of this being a health issue.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting to me, but you factor in the hearing aspects of a lot of other aspects of different political issues, and they're all for it.
Yeah.
But, so it's just interesting to me to see how they're kind of almost just dismissing it as if it's some type of ploy.
Oh, and I think that's going to be their biggest mistake.
Yeah.
They're writing it off, and I mean it's about like saying the world's flat. There's people out there that still believe that, and they might actually believe that guns can't cause hearing loss, but they couldn't be more wrong, and we've got science to back that up.
Yeah, and I think also a big part of it too, I guess from the nefarious component, is the idea that the suppressor doesn't actually make the gun quiet.
Yeah.
It just makes it quieter.
Yes, quieter. It's still pretty loud. It still has substantial sound to it.
Absolutely, and I said it before. I'm like, a suppressed gun has a very distinctive sound.
Oh yeah.
It's not something that you hear and you just kind of just toss it to the wind. It's like like I know that sound.
Yeah.
I know exactly what's going on. So now my next question is, any plans for different calibers?
Absolutely. Yeah. We like to innovate. We like to take things to the next level. So right now it's just the Maxim 9. What it will be next year, we just might have to wait and see.
Yeah. Now, because right now, just aesthetically, the way these look, they're not heavy. They look heavy. They look front end heavy, but they're not. I can tell you, I've shot the gun. They're not heavy at all. However, I'm really curious to see how, as this gun progresses, as we get into different generations, to see what they start looking like. I like it now, so I can only imagine what will happen maybe 3, 4, 5 years from now, when you guys really start to perfect technology even more so.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm kind of excited, actually.
I'm excited too. I'm excited too. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you guys for joining me today.
Sure.
Well, thanks,
All
man.
right. All right. I need to swing by the booth and check out some other stuff. I'm pretty sure you guys are having a good time over there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And join us again for another segment in the next 5 minutes. We're going to go a quick break.